In this episode, it was great to catch up with Skoobie, who is someone I've known and been involved with in the Upland Metaverse community for a very long time. Skoobie has been heavily engaged as an Upland community member and Upland community creator, and is returning to aspects of that after taking about a year away from the platform recently to focus on other things. I last recorded with Skoobie way back in August 2022, and the majority of our chat today was focused around discussing some of the many events and eventualities that have happened in and around Upland since then. There were a few connection glitches here and there through the chat, but that does clear up, so stick with it because Skoobie never pulls any punches and always tells it like it is, which is something I've always enjoyed and appreciated. Personally, I hope Upland makes good on the community cafe Metaventure opportunities in development, and that Skoobie might return to regular broadcasting sometime soon in the Metaverse and Beyond. Quick note from editing band, just to say apologies for the low quality in my audio through this one. I'm just plagued with audio issues at the moment. Hopefully I'll get my act together and get it sorted out sometime soon.
Warning, the information and opinions within solely reviews of the individuals involved contains content not suitable for anyone.
Righty, here we are back for another Metaverse and Beyond podcast. I'm here with the one and only Skoobie. How you going, mate?
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm doing great today.
Very good. Now, I pegged you the other day. Well, I contacted you. That might be a poor choice of words, but yeah, I contacted you the other day and I had a look through, and it was quite a while ago we sat down and chat. I mean, we've had a few backwards and forwards here and there in DMs and what on Discord, but there's a lot to unpack.
There sure is.
All right, now, to get us kicked off, I think we'll just have a quick look at some of your data. That's always kind of sets the groundwork for where we're at. If I click the right button. There we go. So here is Skoobie. Skoobie has been around since February 14th, 2021. Quite a long time. Very cool to see that you have one of the... way back in the day when you could get IP property done as your block explorer. Did anything ever eventuate from that? Did you ever get tapped with maybe this can't be done anymore, or is it
all right, man,
too good?
Not at all. Okay, so that was the process. I was completely prepared for that to happen. I even remember before I went to apply for it, because I had seen some other block explorers that were very clearly copyright violations. And so I started taking screenshots of every single one of them so that if they said anything, I could be like, well, now hold on a minute. But the only thing that happened was I sent them a picture of like a specific screenshot of, Skoobie in whatever episode. And I was like, this. And I even gave them an alternative description of what I would like in case that wasn't cool. And their response, I have the email somewhere, but their response was basically like, well, obviously we can't use that exact image, but don't worry. And this is what I got. I was like, all right, cool. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Absolutely. So if you listen on the Spotify, Skoobie's net worth is a bit over 12 million, pushing towards 13. 555 properties. I like that number. And what do you got?
Oh, that is nice. I just minted the last one to get that number like 5 minutes ago. Got a Tahoe.
Look at that, and you've just gone over that figure with your Spark as well, 5.58. That's pretty cool to see. Home address still in Black Pearl. That's a good one. Throwback to that one. Your leads. Well, city charts very heavy in Brooklyn. Is that Treasure Hunt map? Is that what that's indicative of?
That's still Carroll Gardens from the first neighborhood that I was doing with Icon, and I've since as you know, like with Icon, that it didn't like disband so much as I got busy with life and couldn't head it up anymore, and I just said, all right, anybody that wants to organize in the neighborhoods, go for it. Some have, some haven't. I know that Pugs has been getting really heavy into the Dongan Hills and Staten Island. We worked out some deals and whatnot, and Anyway, I've started taking some of the ones that I really particularly liked, like Black Pearl, and I've been focusing on what I have there and building that up. That Upic Spark Exchange, holy shit, is that convenient.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of done all my building before that got fully established. So, yeah, I've never actually officially used it. So, but yeah, from all intents and purposes, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no, it's way better than back in the day, having to fill out a spreadsheet, DM the right person, get the burner address, make sure you offer the exact right amount on the burner address, and then accept it when they buy it back. That used to be such a fucking hassle. Now it's been decimated, that process. You gotta go through one hoop. You gotta get your Block Explorer close enough to the dev shop of the Upix Spark Exchange to do a deposit of your Upix. But after that, it's all golden.
Absolutely. All right, so we are just looking at your progress chart. I mean, fairly stable overall. Came out of the gate and massive rocket up. Look at that jump there from 5 million net worth to 10 million. Was that the Brooklyn release or something?
No, that was a single property.
Oh, really? Holy moly. What was that?
Mosswood Park, 3612 Webster
Uh-huh.
Street, in Oakland. It's a historic Oakland property. It's like just under 5,000 up squared. It's a rare. That was the crown jewel of getting that neighborhood when Icon was going after it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at that.
I got a big ass factory building there too. I was able to get like I think 2,700 up square for the inventory bit.
Oh, and the lot, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a behemoth. Very nice.
Yeah, that was a group
Cool.
effort. I at the time had about 1 Ethereum, which was going for like 3,500, and then I had some donations from some of the people in Icon to secure it. And well, you can see from all the buildings in the neighborhood that like it was a passion project. We got it. It was a lot of fun. That was a good night.
Now, did you manage to fill out the set there, the collection set?
Still working on it, and man. Oh, don't even get. All right, so right now I get over half of my earnings from that one property. If I manage to complete the set, that doubles.
Yeah, wow.
So, but as you can imagine, being a rare property, it's hard. If you don't want to put in a shitload of actual like real money, I did just I did just manage to score the Fresno Firehouse, which is an ultra rare.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I managed to get that in that Wanderer car bundle thingamajig they were doing,
Yep.
and I'm thinking that I might be able to work that into at least one other historical Oakland. So that's my goal
Work
there.
to spin a deal, yes. I'm just gonna for shits and giggles have a look. So we're looking at historical Oakland. What do you need? 1.5 mil.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's 6,000% markup.
exactly.
So that one's a bit better, 500% markup, but still 1.7 after fees. Yeah, pushing towards closer to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Honestly, the markups aren't even my concern there. Any issue, even at 6,000%, any discrepancy with the markup for that property is more than taken care of by the size of Mosswood Park. It's just an extra 1.5 million is the minimum. And I'm as I told you, I'm usually renting Spark to build stuff out. I'm the last time I was at a point where I had 1.5 million. Hell, just about when I joined this past January after taking a year off, my earnings had accumulated about 800,000. That's the last time I was close enough. Got a car.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I kind of, with the South Lake Tahoe release, I got up for the collection reveal and I saw that there was one of those big rares there. I don't even blanket on the name. I only minted it yesterday, but there was a massive 5.6 million UpX rare there, and I looked at it, and there was other ones in the area, but I thought, well, they're going to get gobbled up straight away, so I just went straight back to sleep. Woke up a couple of hours later, and it was still available, and that got the cogs ticking. And yeah, I had to then actively go out, and I found another player who was trying to flip 2 of them. So a few quick DMs before I headed off to work, and I managed to secure those, and then I went into that big one. Otherwise, it was just not a realistic option.
Yeah. Honestly, even going for collections is relatively new for me. I'm now doing it. I'm getting way more focused on earnings and stuff. But I seriously, for over half of my Upland career, was because it took them so long to fix that UI with the Block Explorer. I was so mad about those coins covering up Block Explorers that I was like, no, you're not going to do that to me. I won't do it out of principle. And now that I actually
Yes.
care, they fixed that, and now I care about my earnings, and I'm just like, oh shit, okay, what do I have? What can I get? How does this work? Oh, markups. I should look at that. Yeah,
It's back to
getting there.
school almost.
Yeah, it has
Absolutely. All right, I'll just go back to, I don't know, I didn't even mean to jump out of screen share, but let's go back to it. So just looking at your progress chart with the number of properties you've got, very stable overall. There's a bit of a tiny little dip there, but yeah, it definitely has hodler mentality to it.
I would say that's largely my play. If I were to say that, I don't really believe in the whole money thing, but if I were making an investment play here, yeah, it'd be holding.
Very cool. All right, so that was that one. Some other recent news, of course, we kind of discussed that a little bit briefly before we got kicked off, is this whole tweet thing that went out. Upland seems to be very interested in sharing little hints and tips or little sneak peeks at things lately. So this was yesterday, I believe, March 16th. Yeah. Oh no, this is the recent one. So your chance to win Sparklet is coming, announcing our share and build airdrop series with both social and in-app missions that reward Sparklet. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll touch on the mission system a bit later when we get into some stuff, but just as a general overview, without getting into too much detail, what do you think about this whole airdrop system? Airdrops at the moment on Twitter are just going ballistic with the, the bull run that's happening with the wider crypto space, and it's scammers galore. How do you feel about it?
Well, okay, so I was aware of the bull run that we're approaching with crypto and everything. Was not aware of there being an issue of scams on Twitter. I don't do Twitter. That's about to change. It's about to change.
Yep.
But I don't really do Twitter. Elon Musk leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And so and X.com, get the fuck out of here. But apparently with this Sparklet thing, as we're going to be coming across here, they're going to be tying some shit to social media. So I think there might be a way that we can like get our airdrops through Twitter and sharing and retweeting or what the fuck. And all right, I'll press the buttons.
Yeah, just make sure if you do get involved in this, yeah, it's notorious. This kind of avenue is notorious for scammers. Be very careful about making sure you're clicking on official links because often they get you to link, your all sorts of private details. So yeah, just be very careful. Make sure you're always getting your link from. I would say they're going to share it in announcements in Discord. Anything that's just shared on Twitter itself or Facebook or anywhere like that, yeah, expect it to be a scam unless proven otherwise. Because yeah, if you get burnt by that, you're going to get burnt hard. Yeah. So interesting. I like how they've gone for the whole YouTuber thumbnail eyes for miles on this image. That's a pretty standard ploy for a lot of YouTubers. So yeah, there's something going on there. I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I think the laser eyes mean are crypto related, right?
Yeah, if you look at YouTube thumbnails, there's heaps of people that use these for. It's especially seems to be like for rage videos and whatnot. So yeah, it might be.
Okay.
I didn't know. I think it was Desjack said, "Where's Gaia? Where's she gone? She seems to be out of the picture."
Oof, Miles is moving up and moving away.
He's got the business suit on. He means business. Don't know. Right, so it'll be interesting to see where that all ends up. Pretty excited about that myself. I'm really hoping that that's going to give Upland the kick in the pants it needs to get more known in the wider crypto Web3 space. Get the name of Upland on the tongues of many more people out in the space and pretty much lead to pumping everybody's bags. Would be nice.
Now, functionally, an airdrop of Sparklet is exactly the same as an airdrop of Spark in terms of utility within Upland, right?
Yes. But what airdrops tend to do is give people basically free money that they just can dump for whatever the hell they want. They don't care what price it is. So it's one of those economic things where it can work out really well to, get exposure and your name out there, or it can go really bad and just tank the price. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, the only thing I think I've heard that it would be a differentiating factor is that I think that there's something about like Sparklet may be able to be burned in order to achieve certain effects, as opposed to Spark, which as you know you get back when you're done with the staking. How do you feel about the whole about the idea of burning Sparklet?
Yeah, I don't know about that whole system myself. My kind of take on it has been I'm stoked for the exposure that this it has to bring. If this doesn't bring the widespread exposure of Upland, I personally I don't know what will. Um, you know, I covered it on one of the other podcasts I do through the week where I forget what it was, but it was Sony. They were putting patents in or something for all of these different things. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Upland already does it. Upland already has this established and has done so for years. Um, so I think, like we all know, we're in the space where we're in the mix with Upland. Like yourself and myself, we've been around for a very long time. So we've seen the journey. We've seen it progress. We know some of the foundationary stuff that's there, but the wider Web3 community don't know that.
That's true.
So, yeah, I remember even when I think it was who's the blonde US celebrity that always says, "Oh, that's hot."
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton. Yeah, thank you. So she did some NFT drop where it was something or other. Oh, it was like it was basically she was selling NFT based Tamagotchis or something like that, and the tagline was, "Oh, the first ever," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, Upland's already got totems. What are you talking about?" So it's
true. That is
it's just
true.
not out there. Yeah.
You even feed your totem like a Tamagotchi. Damn.
Yeah. So there's a hell of a lot of stuff like that where I think some of these other companies and these other metaverses are just starting to talk about this sort of stuff. Upland's been doing it for years now. So yeah, I don't know what other than something as huge as a new token attached to the world's, well, for all intents and purposes, it is the biggest metaverse out there because it's the most daily active users or whatever, unless you're going to count Meta and by default looking at Facebook users, but that's not relevant. If you look at Meta's actual user stats, it's pitiful. So yeah, if this doesn't do it at the height of, well, not at the height, at the kind of the start of the bull run, where crypto, even I've had my mum the other week was here for a visit, and she's like, "Oh, I tried to log into my old crypto account, but I had to go through this laborious process to reset the password and all this." I'm like, even she's thinking about it, and she bought stuff, I don't know, 2018 or something. So
Oh man.
she's even talking about it. So yeah, the time is ripe, shall we say?
Yeah, I've been hearing more and more stories about that of people relaying that they've been getting text messages from friends, family, whoever, being like, "Hey, I know you're into this crypto thing. How do I get a Bitcoin?"
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Ooh. How do you get a Bitcoin? Go back in time. Yeah.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, a lot has changed since the last time we talked. Back when we were discussing things, AI wasn't really on the focus of everyone's lips like it is now. Crypto was widely established, of course. I've personally dived headfirst into AI stuff. I do a crap ton of stuff with it, both as for fun, like for these shows and whatnot, but also professionally with my job. Is that something you've played around with, you're interested in, you're concerned about, whether it be real life or whatever?
Ooh, do I give the real answer or the joke answer?
Both.
All right. Yeah, I'll start with the joke. Frankly, I saw Terminator. I know better. I do my best to stay away.
Yep.
But seriously, I do largely stay away from it. There's so many ethical implications with how it's being used and all that stuff. I'm not worried so much about the computers taking over yet, but I do know that like I'm reading about people getting mad that students are using it to cheat on homework, and then I'm reading about how teachers are using it to check if the student used it for that. And I'm like, well, now hold on, that was you. That was
Yes.
we can't at this point. It's AI checking AI, and I don't. Nah. So I largely just stay out of it. I do use because I'm terrible at art. can't do it. I can't. I use AI for like image generation sometimes.
Yep.
And I use occasionally Gemini or Google's whatever they're using it.
Yep.
For like searching things. My kid really likes using it as a conversation to learn about very, very weird, just whatever's on the top of her head. And I'm just like, well, this is gonna work better than Google.
Absolutely. Yeah. I use it both for the art side of things. I have been using Midjourney for the longest time, but I actually just this week cancelled my subscription for that because I was playing around with the ChatGPT, the DALL-E one. I've already paid for the upgrade for that for ChatGPT 4, and the image, I think the output is probably better than what I can do with Midjourney, but that's only because I haven't explored it to its full capabilities. But it's just the ease of use and not paying for two things to essentially do the one job. So that's why I've switched over. But yeah, I use ChatGPT fairly heavily in my professional aspect, but I describe it to people. It's a genius child that also has Alzheimer's disease. Like
Okay, yeah.
you can be working with it, and it's just doing the most mind blowing things, and then it'll generate one paragraph for you, and then the very next thing that you do, the very next prompt is the same thing it's been doing for the last 20 minutes, and it'll just completely fuck it up. It'll just be totally, and I'll be like, "What are you doing, mate?" Like, what was the word count that you were given? 250 words max. Well, how many words did you just generate? Oh, 800. Like, hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's part of it too. In terms of actually using it, I'm scared to trust it for accuracy. All I ever hear about is something like that where it starts out great, takes a left turn somewhere, and you gotta check it. And I'm like, well, no, hold on, I don't want to check it. The whole point of this is I didn't want to check things.
Yeah.
But no, I will acknowledge there's definitely use cases for it. I just don't know what they are, and none of them really.
Yeah.
Most of them don't apply to me, so I largely just stay out of it. I know there's an AI crypto thing that people are investing in
For trading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good luck. The robots are going to give it. They're not going to give it to you. They'll keep it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, but that whole thing with teachers, it is an interesting one. Yeah, the teachers are using AI to generate the curriculum. The kids are using AI to submit assessments for the curriculum. The teachers are using AI to check the curriculum. Where does that go?
Straight up, I remember being in high school and being told I better damn well not use Wikipedia and use that as a source. And now I'm just like, Wikipedia is not that bad. It's got a lot of sources. I don't think Mrs. Smith would be happy with what we have today.
No, I don't think so. But in saying that too, the expectations on kids these days is just incredible. One of my sons showed me an assessment piece he was working on. He got some feedback from his teacher that part of what he's doing wasn't in the right context or something. So I was like, well, give me a look at it. And I was like, holy shit, mate. He's basically putting together a research paper, and I'm reading the way he's done it with his use of references and, using the right number formatting and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, I didn't do this till I was like an undergraduate. Like, it's just, and he's in grade 7. He's his first year of high school. Like, what the hell? So, yeah.
Now, I do know that Upland, apparently, I heard they use AI for some of their art generation. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
Yep. I believe AI was used extensively to build out the storylines for totems, to generate all of the back-end data mechanics for it, and also to generate the images for them. That was all AI-driven. Yeah.
Well, let's curious to see what happens with Season 2, then.
Yes. Yes, I know. It's very interesting, that whole process. All right, now, speaking of haven't been chatting for a while, I did go last night. I went back through and I saw, when was the last time I actually did speak to Skoobie? And that was back in the old Wine and Cheese Shows days, way back on August 21st, 2022. So a couple of years ago, pretty much.
Yeah.
So based on that date, I then went back and had a look at the Upland events page. I went way, way, way back, and I kind of screen grabbed all of the kind of main topics that I thought were pretty interesting that had kind of outlined from there. Now, you said before we got kicked off, there's because you have, if listeners aren't aware, Skoobie did take quite a lengthy break from the community and what was very heavy engagement. You were doing your own podcast shows and, doing your own community driven events and everything. So, yeah, make sure when we get to that stage, sing out and we'll dive into that in some details. So, this is going to be a bit of a step back into the past. If you're recently new to the community, some of this will be interesting to you. If you're an OG or you're a veteran, might be of interest to go back and have a look through some of this stuff as well. Because as much as many of us shit on Upland or like myself exactly whine about it, there's been a lot of changes. There's been a hell of a lot has come through since way back when. All right, so you said you're building a factory. We had back in August 29th, so this was just after we'd spoken, we had Metaventure update, outdoor decor manufacturing is going live. So that was moving beyond the 10 beta participants there.
Oh man, that there was a time where it was not a thing, and you guys were waiting for like years.
Yeah, impatiently, I might add, years and years. Yes, absolutely. So that was one of the big ones back then. Of course, associated with that is showroom structures. There's not much point building stuff if you can't sell it. You're building a factory. Where you got your showrooms? Is that also in Mossman?
No, actually. All right, so I have a structure ornaments showroom in Brooklyn. Located at the address is 5 Street. That's it. That's the whole address. And I was trying to do a fun pun on the Four Seasons of the world and the Four Seasons Hotel. And so I named my shop at 5 Street. I named it 5 Seasons, thinking that'd be a fun little pun, a decoration for every occasion. Literally days later, we got fucking 6 seasons.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, you ruined everything, Upland.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so I've got that shop in Brooklyn. I've got a small factory in Brooklyn. And then I realized exactly how much space I had at that Mosswood Park. And it's not quite enough to do the biggest factory because you need a landmark to do the giant one. But the next biggest one. Yeah, but the next biggest one, no problem. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it yet, but whenever I do, I've got a big inventory lot to use.
Very good. What are you going to be building?
So right now, it is just a factory, which means it's just potential. I can choose whatever I'm going to build out of it. I'm hoping that I am able to make my own structure ornaments. First of all, I've been working on learning Blender a little bit, and so I'm going to try making my own designs. I got kind of an idea, a little niche I want to do where we've got buildings, and we have labeled properties, like theaters, police stations, all that jazz. And we have some unique buildings, but we don't have things that really pop, and show that this is that thing. So I was thinking that I could do seasonal decorations for labels. So like a library, I could do a Christmas book themed ornament for libraries, and then I could also do a blossom themed ornament for libraries, etc., etc. Firehouses, all that jazz, gas stations. I think that people would like the idea of being able to show off that they have that kind of building, and unless you do a unique structure and go through that whole process, ornaments are the way to do it.
Absolutely. That sounds fun. All right, so now we did have the introduction of community dev tools way back in September as well, so they've been around for quite a while. I haven't played around with anything remotely to do with any of this. Was that on your radar back in the day? Did it get you excited?
It got me excited as a potential for other people and like potential collaborations, but not on a first-hand basis. I'm not techie enough then. I'm not techie enough now. I'd love to someday, but I'm realistic. I'm not. No, it's really cool because it means that you can work with people who do know how to do that. But there's nothing that's not for me.
Absolutely right. Now, this was one of the big ones: rewards balancing, KYC updates, and minting cooldowns. So a lot of this was to do with treasure hunting, bringing in the requirement for KYC. How did you feel about that whole process? I was all for this. I think the more KYC stuff, the better, which is weird because I do come from a crypto background.
Mm-hmm. I having an issue with KYC in a game like this, it seems silly to me. Like if there are places and platforms like the dexes, the decentralized exchanges and shit. If you had to provide a KYC to be on a dex, well, that'd be kind of weird, I imagine. But like Upland is like, I hate to say they're a game because of how they use that as the defense to get out of tough questions, which we'll get to in a bit. But it is. It's an official platform. It's an official company that does official things. It's hooked up to goddamn PayPal. So like, I'm sorry, but if you want money out of this game, yeah, at some point showing your driver's license doesn't really seem like that big of a deal to me.
It's a well-established kind of feature of the crypto space. I remember, doing ICOs or signing up to obscure exchanges so it could get a certain token. You're taking a photo of your passport, you're holding it up with a message. It was wild back in the day. Some of the personal information you just throw here, there, and everywhere. So, yes, absolutely. All right, community governance update. I think back in the day, we were all pretty excited about this. I got to say, from a personal experience, are you really? Yeah, exactly. When's it coming? Because aside from there has been a few use cases where, okay, this vote is important. A lot of it was just fluff, the name for this, the name for that. But then there's been other major developments, major decisions made without any kind of governance from the community at all. And even this is kind of talking about more the within neighborhood governance as well, and that's just absolute crickets. Yeah.
Yep, that's my whole issue there. We like the whole idea of voting. I mean, yeah, there was the idea of voting that, like, based on voting on decisions that Upland directions they were going to go on stuff. But like, I feel like we all viewed that as like presidential elections once every several years. Like, yeah, there'd be a big thing every now and then. But in terms of what voting would be, was like neighborhoods. We used to the go-to argument for voting and like what it was going to do back in the day was that, like, if you wanted to have Christmas Town where you could have Christmas ornaments all year round, then the neighborhood could vote to be Christmas Town. And yeah, we still don't have
made the decision. Yeah, not even close, eh? So yes, there's a few of these cards in the mix where you look at it and goes, you know what? I remember that. That was a really good idea. What happened to that fucking idea? Yeah.
Just check out the original roadmap. Have you looked at the original roadmap lately? Have you looked at it lately?
No, I haven't. No.
I've got a link. Oh, they scrubbed it. You can't find it. I found an archived link of it where the Internet Archive saved it. I can share that with you if you'd like. The number of things that I have brought up in general chat and been like, hey, what about this? And someone with a red name has been like, I don't recall that ever being a thing. And I'm like, yeah, it was before you even fucking here. But I promise you, they promised us. Here's the link.
I caught something last night, right before I was about to go to bed. It was you actually talking in general with one of the Reds, talking about how it's a shame that there's no death beneficiary situation for accounts. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah,
that was promised to us.
Yeah, no hit by the bus mechanisms for passing on your account. Which there's people out there now with $500,000 accounts, $3 million accounts. It's kind of crazy.
Dude, I heard Buster Worth is dead.
Yes, unfortunately. Rest in peace. Yeah, and his account's worth just a crap ton. So.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I hate to in any way be exploitive as using someone as a use case scenario like that, because I've talked to him. He was a great guy, but like I just found this out like a week ago, and as I'm like talking about account inheritance, I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, that's a scenario where that applies. Like, what's gonna happen with all that? And as far as
Yep.
I understand, the answer is nothing.
Yeah. Limbo. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. It's bad from, of course, his in real life family situation because that's a lot of
Yeah,
potential inheritance tied up there.
yeah.
It's also bad from the Upland community perspective because Butterworth was heavily involved in. He was an active member in a lot of community projects that were going on.
Hmm.
He holds a hell of a lot of high value properties. That what's going to happen to those now? They're just going to be xed out, just sit there. Who
The
knows?
official answer I got was that it will make the things left behind all the better, and I'm like, I don't accept that. No.
Oh, that's a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that was the sentiment, and I'm just like, no.
So think of that from a real world component. If you want to move into a new suburb and 40% of that suburb is derelict houses, that makes the ones that are left more valuable? Really?
The only way that works is if you're describing fungible tokens. Unfortunately, we are dealing with non-fungible tokens, which means they're each unique. So no, it does matter. I
Yeah,
don't know what
that
Vox is.
has
I
to.
didn't know what it was then. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, it was really cool. I am invested in the Gala token, I believe, which is all tied. Yeah, there you go, powered by Gala.
Oh,
I'm a big bag holder of Gala. Um, I when this news came out, I started dollar cost averaging even more. Of course, you have to do your own research and don't invest more than you're willing to lose, and all of that jazz. But yeah, since this announcement, crickets for days, and that's October 2022. So yeah, don't know, don't know. Anyhow, I picked this one because I really like this idea that this is the Upland Jackie Sai structure ornaments that came available. It was block explorers, it was all sorts of stuff. I dove into this reasonably heavily with what I could. How'd you go with this back in the day? Were you into this?
mhm. I was around when it happened. I don't believe I was able to get really any of them. I don't remember if it was because I didn't have the opportunity, like in queue position, or if I didn't have the upbooks on
Yep.
hand. But by the time like that, secondary market for those, they're expensive. Even the ones now you get from like his shops they're pricey. They're very pretty, but they are pricey.
Yeah, I love the art style, and what I thought was funny, and one of the reasons I put this in is it's one of these cases. This is a clear case where Upland tells the community you can't do X, but then they can do the same thing. So these structure ornaments, if you look at these, it's like these really cool skull heads on top of your building, and then the entire building is covered with a really decorated blanket. Well, if you're a structure ornaments
Mm-hmm.
manufacturer, a UGC creator, you can't cover the building. You're not allowed to do what they do. So, yeah, it's a kind of a
Windows
frustration point for a lot of
is
people.
a big issue there, right? It's Windows. It's a big issue there.
Something like
They
that.
can't
Yeah,
say you
I
can't
don't know
cover
what
up.
the official. Yeah, I don't know what the official line is, but all I know is that the community has been told no, but they can do whatever they want. So,
They did it
bit
again.
annoying. Yes,
Is why I think
it's
Windows with
multiple.
the frost ornaments. They apparently did the
Yep.
same.
And then I just put this up as a car sale thing. I don't know what was specific about this specific car sale in October, but just going back to the kind of the first release of cars, how you felt about it way back then. Obviously, now that we've had transportation, it's a whole different ballgame. But way back in the day, did you get into that? I had shit all luck with getting one of these.
Man, all right. So yeah, so did I back then. When they first did them, I wanted the mystery machine. You know, Skoobie. I wanted the van. A cargo van or what's it? So
Yep.
there's passenger van, there's cargo van. Anyway, I was never able to get any of the vans. I'd load up on Upbooks like I was ready, and I mean just sale
Mm.
after sale after sale. No luck on really any of them. And so I eventually just gave up on it. I was like, you know what? Eventually they're gonna release a jalopy, and I'll be able to pick that up for like 30,000 upix. Now, I was wrong, carts, but we did get the cheaper vehicles. So yeah, I didn't have any luck on any of these. I took that year off. When I came back, I had almost 800,000 upix in just earnings that I'd accumulated, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I can get a car now. So the first thing I did, I got myself a sweet like sports car. I'm very proud of it.
Nice. Yeah, I never had any luck with the reservations. I did pick up a few on the secondary, and there was one point there. I was actually on holidays in Japan, and I FOMO'd into buying an S1R. Part of that deal was, I would hate to think how much that S1R cost me. It was a fair chunk of UPEX in the millions. It was also a fair chunk of Bitcoin that I did OTC. I didn't even think about it at the time. I was just that focused on getting this deal done. And then once the deal was done and dusted, I went, oh shit, I've just done an OCT trade. So then I had to contact the team and I had to go through the process of sending fees to the pool to cover it and all that sort of stuff. But my S1R probably cost me, if I looked at where Bitcoin is now, maybe $7,000, something like that, something stupid. So, yes.
But hey, you'll get where you need to go fast.
Yes. Well, the thing is now, if you put that S1R in a race and you get one of those shitty, the other proper stock car racing ones, it just blows them away. So, it was a very good lesson. Whenever I'm tempted to FOMO into something now, big price items like that, I tend to reflect back on that one and think, I might just want to think on this one for 24 hours. So, yeah. Multiplayer racing, that was all part of it as well. That was way back, you're talking well over a year ago. When racing first dropped, I was pretty critical at the time. I was like, well, if this is what we've got to play with, this is kind of borderline embarrassing. This is going back to the freaking 80s. I used to play a little game on my phone where the little man used to move, the little racing car used to move. He could just move left or right, and it was just a scroller. I'm like, at least that you could move it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's a game.
Yep. Loosely. Yep. Moving on. Now this one, I just pegged all of these together because it was the. I put all these together because it was FIFA World Cup. This was one of the things when this dropped, I was like, holy shit, FIFA World Cup, this is going to explode. They were talking about the legits and some of the promotion that was going on. I remember some of the podcasts I did focusing on this, like this is going to get the name out in the community. This is Upland, we're to the moon. This is going to blow up. But it was all one-sided. There was no official representation on the FIFA side at all, not even a link or a bloody thumbnail at their official site.
Yeah, this felt less like a partnership and more like a licensing deal. This felt like them going,
yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
and then we had the whole fiasco. Sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good, yeah.
Yeah. And then we had the fiasco where they couldn't spell Australia right, and there was all sorts of errors with some of the spelling and wrong labels on wrong shirts, and you get that on big jobs, though, I suppose.
Look, it makes it more unique. It adds value. It's like a misprint.
I'm going to use that in so many contexts from now on. If something's just going really bad, it's unique. It's more valuable. Yeah. That's hilarious. Right, and then we had the introduction of in-game chat to communicate with fellow Uplanders in real time. Now, if you're not aware, Skoobie is actually yourself and Uplander. You're the ones who created the whole Upland Café community chat process way back in the day. How did you feel about this coming on board?
I don't, man. Yeah, okay, so the cafe in Upland was great while it was still a thing that was happening all the time. I guess there's still some things that go on there now, but it's not what it was. they introduced this in-game chat, and you know what? I have very similar feelings to it that I had to the multiplayer racing. I'd be lying if I said it was not in-game chat, but the idea that it was any sort of an analogous or whatever the word is, like replacement, no. Like number one, now that it's improved a little bit over time, but when I used it forever, it was just not. It sucked. It was not working well. I don't know how else to describe it. You have an idea for a chat application, and it wasn't working like you expect. Number two, we didn't have general chat until about a week ago, and DMs only work if the person has opted in. You have to opt in. Wasn't impressed then. Now I wouldn't say I'm impressed now, but there is a general chat now, so that's nice. They're giving away up.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember when it first dropped. I tried to get involved in it somewhat, but there was a couple of times there where I'd written this paragraph, and then there was some word in there that was keyword blocked, and it just zoink, all gone. And there's no way to copy and paste, so I just got jack of it. I'm like, well, this ain't for me. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, did a little bit of an experiment. All right. And yeah, it's oh, where is that? Hold on. I wrote it down. I wrote down like words that are allowed and words that are not allowed. I can't remember, but like it was like words that will immediately block it included murder. That'll just get it done. Willie, can't say Willie. I mean, just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous things. And yeah, you can't. It takes it all away. You can't just copy what you had. This has been a bane of me. I've gotten to the point now where I sometimes will just like screenshot the message and post the screenshot. Moderate
I've
that.
done that before too. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, that's certainly a frustration for me there. Now I've put this one down. It's just basically a whole bunch of NFLPA stuff. I think that's very similar to the FIFA stuff as well. I never got really involved in this, although I did open up a store to sell some. I ended up with a whole bunch of the legits based on swaps. I was doing all these swaps for decor map assets, and I had a whole bunch of them, so I put a store there. Much of a footy head yourself?
Right on. Not as such. Well, hold on. Whoa. Okay, you say footy, but as I understand, footy is just soccer, and this is American football. We have to try and keep everything separate because we use the same words for everything. But yeah, I invested sort of in the original. So NFLPA was the very first legit. It was the first one.
Yep.
And when they described the legit's platform, I immediately liked it because I liked how it could be applied to things like concerts.
Yes.
And movies, things beyond sports. So I said I want to support this. So I got a few likes. I got a few mementos, and I've been just slowly trying to offload them ever since. I don't even pretend to know what they're worth. I just want them gone. I don't like football.
I think they've got a bizarre minimum price to them too, where I think it's $5 the minimum or something like that. You can sell them $3 or $5.
USD, yeah. I was able now Upix. I've been able to sell them for like 400, 450 Upix. Been having a lot more luck with those sales.
Yes, and I think a lot of the use cases for those still are to be used for burners. I know a lot of people that have bought some in my shop, they're just using them, trying to get cheap ones to use for burners. So it's a bit sad to see them just used as throwaway bits and pieces. Yeah, it's a mechanic, not a feature.
They were selling them in unlimited bundles.
Yeah,
like forever. And then they also
Yes.
implemented that contest with the leaderboard about burning them, but you have to burn the ones from the Super Bowl, and if you burn the player of the game, then you get extra points, but we don't know who the player of the game is until after the burn. And also, by the way, apparently that's just decided by somebody who the player of the game is. I was just like, get these out of my account. I don't want them anymore. This is
Too hard basket, yes. But structure. Oh, this is a good one. Structure ornament manufacturing crates. So this was the crate apocalypse. How did you survive the crate apocalypse, or are you still dealing with the aftermath?
okay. I have two very strong opinions on this. Structure ornament manufacturing is fantastic. I love the concept. I love that I'm not there yet. Like I said, I'm still learning Blender, but I love that I can just make the ornament, submit it, get it approved or rejected, and fix it. Yada yada yada. Get the blueprint, put it in there, start manufacturing, boom, sell them. Love that that's actually a process now. These fucking crates. All right. I don't mind that they're tied to the item. I don't mind that you have to move them so that the item is wherever it actually is, and that you moving the crate signifies that. I mind that you can't do that in bulk when you own a factory and a shop, but that's really honestly, that's an aside. My big issue is that when I decorate my house and it's decorated, why is there a fucking box in the middle of the front lawn? Well, I didn't put it up? What?
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure you're probably in the same boat. I've got a few properties where I put an apartment building on it, and it fits within the tiniest fraction of an up square, and now I can never ever decorate that building.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's like, I mean, and again, Upland, you're supposed to mirror the world a little bit. So it's like, gee, where am I putting this box inside this fucking building? Well, I'm probably putting it inside, if I had to guess.
Yeah. And the size of the things, like compared to the structure, they're massive. Yeah.
Well, and we're supposed to be getting an in-structure experience at some point anyway. We're supposed to be able to walk in our front doors.
Yes.
So seriously, why can't I walk in my front door and there it is?
Yeah, it's there. Well, you wouldn't even do that either, would you? You'd have a storage facility. You might have a shed in the backyard that you'd put it in. Yeah.
I have a garage on the structure. I have an extra guest house. I don't have a guest. We don't.
Oh, the ranch house. Yeah.
We're not allowed to have guests over yet. Apparently, So yeah, that's my issue. And I know it's technically small. I know it's just aesthetic, but it really bothers me.
Yes. Well, we did have. I don't know if you saw Uplander and Left House did I think it was yesterday actually. They did a broadcast where Left House now has some kind of theatre, and you can go into it and watch movies. So maybe it's coming. Maybe eventually, soon. Hopefully, one day.
You asked about Sparklet. You said what else could bring in a bunch of people? That's my answer. A fucking movie premiere. All right. If we start having movie premieres in Upland, oh yeah, that's one of my OG ideas for ventures for shit was I wanted to have a theater that like I wasn't even worried about having a Metaventure. I was just like, all right, you say we're gonna be able to put posters on our wall that are NFTs from other platforms and shit. I have seen on other platforms movie NFTs, video NFTs. And so I'm just like, so you pay to visit my property, you go in, watch the movie on the wall. That's a theater. I've been wanting this for years. So you know what?
Yes.
Left House apparently made a movie. There's a theater. We're going to get to go inside on, what is it? Is it tomorrow? Is it Monday? It's sometime real soon. There's a block explorer. So I'm ecstatic about all this. This is my favorite announcement in a long time. I'm very excited about the theater.
Nice. Yeah, I remember you talking about that kind of same process to do with concerts and whatnot for the longest time. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the crate apocalypse, that was a nightmare for me, just to have, several hundred crates just dumped all over the map. Just absolutely bizarre that you didn't get a heads up and say, hey, nominate a property that you want these to be dropped on. Just, here you go. Congratulations. Move all this shit one at a time. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, why not? Like, if they had just done a script where it by up square picked your largest property and then saw how many would fit there, Mosswood Park would have held 10 times the amount of things I own.
Yeah.
Now I'm even more mad.
Yeah, I eventually moved, like I said, I don't even know how many, I've got 400 maybe. I eventually moved them all one at a time to a single property that I put as a structural ornament showroom to sell, or at least to have them all in the one spot so I knew where they were. And then once it came that no, now your crate has to be moved to the property, I'm like, I ain't moving these freaking things again. So I'm sorry, but I'm just not getting involved in any of these decorator contests, which is a shame because I bought hundreds of these to decorate Midtown Terrace. So, yeah, it's super frustrating for me. So maybe the mechanics of that will be fixed up. Maybe the whole paid transportation, maybe the process can be automated about moving them, but then they still need the storage situation to be solved.
Side effect of them I really like that I don't think was intended and but I'm using for anyway, because I did the same thing you did. I just moved them all to my showroom because I mean I'm not selling all of them, like I'm not listing them all, but like when I decide to, they're already there. However, I learned that you cannot sell or list a property or accept offers on a property. So now, whenever I come across, instead of just listing at a ridiculous price, now I'm just moving a single ornament box there, and then boom, don't have to worry about it. I like that. I mean, we should just be able to press a button to say accept nothing, but like, this works.
Yeah, it's like self-dickhead insurance, so you don't accidentally flip something that you shouldn't have. Yeah,
we've all done it too.
I've done that. Oh yeah, absolutely. I try to list. Properties like collection properties and that I don't want to sell. I list those at 68 million. If there's a property that I've done if there's a dev shop in Midtown Terrace and I've swapped that property with another one, and the deal with those has always been for me, if you decide you no longer want the dev shop and you want to close it down, well, you agree to swap back for your original property. I have previously accidentally flipped those properties and gone, oh shit, now I've got to buy that same property off the secondary market. So I tend to list those for like 99 points, 99, 2, some really bizarre number. So when I am in my sales rampage, I think, hang on a minute, this was for something, and then I got to backtrack through the DMs and work out what it was. Yeah.
I kept using that song 8675309.
Yeah.
That's what I use.
So you know it's for something. Yeah, that's cool.
I don't necessarily know what, but it makes you go, now hold on a minute.
Yeah, well, it'd be nice to be able to put a note on your property, wouldn't it? Just put a little note here, like a little sticky note on the wall inside. Yeah, who knows? So the other big one, of course, now this is grinds my gears, going back to March 22nd, 2023. So a full year pretty much.
Yeah.
Creator royalties. Now this was on the back of myself and a few other of the original beta testers and whatnot. Los Montana, shout out to him. There's a few of us that started to kick up a bit of a stink about this. Well, hang on a minute. These are NFTs. We're selling them, and then they're being on-sold several times in the communities. The whole thing about NFTs is you get creator royalties. Where's ours? As I said, we started to kick up a bit of a stink, started to throw the dummies out of the prams, and this dropped, and we're like, yes, thank you. Since then, nothing.
Are you sure that's even still there? They like to sometimes take things away, like the roadmap. So are you sure that's still on the table?
I think it got raised recently, and I believe that it was said, yes, it's still in development. It's just not on the immediate agenda. Because, of course, Sparklet and things like that take the full focus. So there was talk about back paid royalties. Those figures are going to be in the several tens of millions of UPEX that are owed to the community in back paid creator royalties. So.
And where is that going to come from? Are they going to raise my taxes?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man, and I mean this sincerely. Good luck. I hope y'all get everything, but I wouldn't.
Well,
I wouldn't be.
We waited 2 years to begin manufacturing, so maybe we've only waited a year for these, so maybe another year and we'll be gold. I have to wait and see. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely one that grinds my gears a little bit.
Oh sure.
Anyhow, The Explore Center, I mentioned this at the start, we're going to look at missions and stuff. I thought this was good,
Mhm.
changing the whole onboarding process for the new users. They direct you to a certain space where you can explore different things. There's the mission system. I thought this was really positive.
Yeah, I agree. This would have been great when I was starting out. I would have. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you make your peace with your early mistakes, but this would have prevented several of my early mistakes. Just having all of the mechanics and nuance laid out like this. Yeah, no, I think it's great.
I will say it still grinds my gears a little bit. It's a bit buggy. There's one of these missions in here that it just will not let me complete it. It's something stupid like send to a property, and I do it, and no, it's send a
Mm.
message in the in-game chat. I've done that several times, and it just never gets it ticked off as being completed. So I keep getting this thing, hey, you haven't completed your missions.
Now
I have.
the only one
God
I
damn it.
had the only one I had trouble with, there were a couple of times where like it tells you to press where the button is, but
Mm,
depending on if my keyboard on my phone had been up and taken down or whatever, it would like change
mm,
where that box is and it wouldn't recognize it. So I had to
yep,
like figure a couple of those out. But
yeah,
yeah, bugs. That's Upland.
yes. But all in all, a very positive addition. Blossom season, you said this totally screwed you over with what you had going on. I think the concept of this
I
is
was gone
really
at this
good.
point. I didn't. First time I heard of Blossom was a month ago.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know we already
Oh,
had
so
it.
that is this is that period where you said you stepped out somewhere in here.
Yeah. I was gone from probably like January or so of 23. Well, actually,
Hmm.
yeah, pretty much all of 23.
All right.
Because I came back
So
in
it's,
mid January this year. So yeah.
it's all right. So this is a lot of this stuff will be new for you as well. Yeah. So I like this edition. I think it's cool to do specialized things around different seasons. My grind has always been make it a bit more relevant to the entire community. It's not summer everywhere, you know, at the same time. It's not winter everywhere at the same time. I'm putting up frost ornaments. Meanwhile, I've got the kids in the backyard pool because the air conditioner's broken. We're freaking 40-degree temperatures, and I'm putting bloody frosty ornaments up. That's just my personal whine. That I'm never going to stop whining about that. We'd love to see a bit more love out there for other places other than the old US of A.
Wait, there's more than the U.S. of A.
Touche.
News to me.
Yes.
They don't teach us that here in school.
No. Now you must have missed this. Now this is coming very soon. So this was
This
the
was a
whole April
joke, right?
Fools. Yeah, yeah. But it
All
dropped.
right.
It didn't even drop on April Fools. Look, March 30th. I mean, if you're going to do April Fools, at least get it on the right date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, as someone who has actually pushed for this kind of thing to be in the game to
I
add a little
remember.
bit
Yeah.
more realism, it's a little bit of like a
Yep.
feels a little bit like a fuck you. Like, hey, now hold on a minute. This is a good idea. This is not a joke. Hold on.
Yeah. Uh, yes. Yeah. I mean, I read it and pretty much straight away you can peg. But it's always funny, these things. Remember the one previously, they were going to change Miles, they were going to change it to a
Right.
beaver or a badger or something. Another one of these is coming. Some of the rage and the butthurt that you see in the community, it's well worth the effort that Upland puts into it just for the shits and giggles of reading the comments.
I think we've had more votes on jokes than we've had actual votes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. And sad at the same time.
Yeah.
Any predictions for what this year's April Fools might be tied to? I would suspect it might be something to do with crypto, maybe.
Ooh.
Would that be holding your hand too close to the fire?
That might be a
Yeah.
little bit too dangerous. No, because as we've seen from both the pick a new mascot, the natural disasters, as you say, it's always something that on its surface might raise your eyebrow, but as soon as you read into it at all, it should be obvious. No, they're not going to do that. Bearing that in mind, maybe a city release on the moon. That's been an ongoing thing people have talked about. Like that should be a thing. Maybe, and they have recently been making certain tweets or whatever. There was some sort of image they put out of some stars, and people were discussing in general chat about what like constellation that is, and I'm pretty sure the conclusion was it was one of the dippers. But like, was that sparklet? Is that? And I'm hoping it means that day and night cycles are coming, but it could be leading up to them announcing the moon as a joke. Who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Don't fall for it straight off the bat. Read the fine print. Because, yeah, it's usually glaringly obvious once you actually read the details. All right, now this is a massive one, of course, which, you were heavily tied up with neighbourhood developments, nodes and whatnot, neighbourhood ratings. This is something we were banging on in the community. When are we going to get these neighbourhood collections? Come on, we've been building for over a year here. We've been building these communities. Where's our neighbourhood ratings? Here they are finally, and it just kind of took the wind out of many community sales, decimated a lot of projects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you say?
I say that it has yet to. It's not real. Neighborhood ratings aren't real. Look, there have been a couple of winners that have actually gotten collections made, as I understand, but that is the most bare bones evidence of a working system. You cannot access the ratings in game, so that's a problem. The only thing that affects the ratings are things like, who lives there, how much construction you have going on, not how much construction has been completed, as I understand, which creates
that's frustrating.
Hey, we're going to have an entire building competition. Get your shit together and start building. A year later, hey, we're going to have neighborhood ratings. You fucked yourself by building already.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it does.
Huh?
Yeah, it does. It does factor in, but it's not weighted anywhere near as heavily as NewsSpark. So yeah, that's just wow.
What's that? Somebody that owns a property in your neighborhood is in jail?
Yeah.
Nothing we can do about that. That property's dead.
Yeah.
Huh? So the whole ratings thing, it's not real. What rating to what?
Yeah. Yeah, and of course there was the secondary aspect where once there was, I forget the official wording, but I'm pretty sure it says once there's a few neighbourhoods that have achieved the collection status, then they're going to go head to head to upgrade their collections. Well, there's not a single thing being mentioned about that.
This was supposed to be a tiered, ongoing competition such that it was a constantly shifting ladder so that people could move up the ranks and down the ranks, and everybody would be able to feel like they were active and interactive, and that we would be able to work together and against each other. And we haven't even had another real building competition since the luxury building competition. I just don't. I mean, at this point, I almost feel like they should scrap the neighborhood ratings, let everyone know that it's not a thing, and put it on hold, finish some of this other stuff they're working on, and then come back to it. This isn't it.
Yeah, so while you were talking there, I just looked through our DMs, and I remember at the time we talked about that, pretty extensively, backwards and forwards, of how we felt this was going to play out for our communities. Neighbourhoods like Mosswood and Midtown Terrace, that as soon as we got the information about building, we went gangbusters with the information we had. Okay, sure, we kind of got fucked with the previous building doesn't rate as highly as new building, but then this next tiered system, we're just totally out of the ball game with that. Like, if Midtown Terrace does achieve neighbourhood ratings collection, but we're already over 90% built out. If we go to that next stage battle, there's no room to move. We've built essentially everything we could possibly build. What hasn't been built is dead properties. Where do you go? There's no progress to be made.
They have talked about with the gamified earnings how that is meant to reward the actively engaged player. That's, in my opinion, what neighborhood ratings was supposed to do.
Yes, I agree. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, frustrating for both of us on that one, I would say. All right, moving on. Speedway Metaventures. Again, this is another one. I thought this was positive. This was fun. I wanted to put one up straight away, but I really struggled to find a spot in Midtown Terrace that would fit one. Have you come across that as well in Mosswood or any of your other neighbourhoods where you would want to do some of this new stuff? I know we've got cafes coming out, things like this, but the structural limitations or the structural requirements essentially blocks you out of being involved.
Yeah, and when that's happened, what I've done is I've just accepted that, not everything's always going to be nice and neat. It's not going to always work out lined up like you want to. I could go on a million monologues about what's gone wrong in Upland on my journey, but like with this, I've just been so I've looked around the neighborhood. So like my shop, five seasons at 5th Street. That address is not actually in Carroll Gardens. It is directly adjacent. It's right off the corner.
Yep.
So I just all right, it's close enough.
Yeah.
Mossa Park is obviously in Mosswood, but I don't know if I'm going to be having the shop that it correlates to. I don't know if that's going to be in Mosswood. That might have to be like just outside of it. I'm trying to keep it close. But I've accepted that's just not always going to work in terms of neighborhoods. Because you're right. I mean, you got to deal with the structural limitations. I'm dealing with a bunch of properties in Carroll Gardens that aren't big enough for a micro house.
Yeah, that's mental, isn't
weird.
It goes back to that whole thing where we're supposed to be able to merge properties at some stage. That feature would get rid of this. Yeah, that's no longer a thing. Yeah.
No.
All right. We'll move on. Uncollected earnings cap. As somebody who did take a break in this period, were you aware that this had happened?
Yes, I was aware. I as a general rule, I don't like to go too long without logging into any of like the things that I like log into, just to make sure that I haven't been hacked or what have you. So like I was aware of this, and that is why I didn't miss out. I missed out on my Spark bonuses. For 2023, I wasn't logging in every single day, but about once every month or so, I would check, and I never reached that cap, so I was able to collect all my earnings. Personally, I'm fine with this. I mean, I think it should be an amount / time period. I don't think Abdullah should be fucked just because he makes that much an hour, but I think that 500,000 UPIX or 6 weeks. I don't know, whatever. Whichever comes second.
Yeah, I think they botched the ratio at the start where it seemed to be overly punishing of new players. And I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, they did play around with the numbers a bit more. I forget what the chief executive amount is, but I looked at it like, well, I'm never gonna hit that cap, so it's fine. Yeah. So all in all, what is the purpose of this? Is it so that there's not just too much UPEX getting lost out into the abyss? I kind of struggled with what the purpose of this was. Is it trying to keep people active?
Yeah. I think this was their first attempt at what became the gamified earnings tasks. I think that this was their first attempt of saying, well, you better check in every so often. You can't just be completely passive. And then I think they noticed that people were like, yeah, no problem. I can check in every 6 weeks and still not do shit. And they were like, oh, well, we might have to actually make you do things then to collect that. Because you still have to collect it every so often, but now you have to do even more stuff. And for me, it's fine. I'm 5 tasks, no problem.
Yeah, it kind of goes a bit against the grain of the whole crypto hodler, perspective, though, where there's people that got involved in Upland way back, even when I did, who would have minted up maybe a couple of $100 worth of properties in San Francisco, and they're going to say, you know what, I'm going to come back to this thing in 5 years and see where it's at. So,
yeah, I see it that right now, if there's still a base of 5%, I see a new player coming in. That's the base. They look at that and they go, all right, base earning a 5%. Shit, I only get 2% from my bank. 5%. That's not bad. What's this? If I do these 5 tasks, that jumps up to 14? I think that's the perspective that is for the new player going forward. And I'm fine with that.
Yep. All right, moving on. Map asset manufacturing. That was when it opened up to the wider community. I think we kind of already touched on that. Introducing Stock Car Pro series. I like this in the kind of from the lens that I thought this was going to get us out into a wider market. Again, this is Stock Car Pro Series, doesn't mean anything in Australia. We've got our own Stock Car Pro Series. Of course, USA has NASCAR and whatnot. This was heavily tied to the Brazilians. Brazil is a massive community, a massive, country. There's a lot of people interested in this series. I was hoping, okay, maybe this is going to do something that the FIFA partnership and the NFLPA partnership couldn't, but doesn't seem to eventuate.
Yeah, not that I've seen. I mean, there's racing legits, and I've seen a couple of accounts that are clearly invested in those. But by and large, I don't hear about stuff. I hear about stock car races in Upland, like Upland stock car races, more than I actually hear about stock car racing in Upland.
Yeah, that's a good way to put a bow on that one, I think. Now, this one's highly relevant for you, setting the stage for cafes.
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting cafes soon. I mean, there's already one that's either been built or being built from somebody that apparently won it at Vegas or something.
I think it's Mr. Alan C. maybe from the Sussex.
Yeah. But we're supposed to be getting the ability to actually players apply for them like they do any other Metaventure, and they're going to be able to charge entry into them. They're going to be able to host events to them, sell tickets to them, that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm excited as hell for that. I can't wait to see what that application process is like and what opportunities it offers, because I would love. I mean, I'm still not at a point where I could host any regular thing. But every now and then I have free time, and I'd love to be able to have a cafe and just do a little tournament in the cafe and have people show up.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I'm interested in doing. We have seen that Upland has their official cafe, and there's several other broadcasters that broadcast out of there regularly. That's not something I've ever had any interest in, because I kind of don't want to deal with somebody else's technical issues. I have tried to be a part of some of those broadcasts, and I can't get into it, or you can see that the person hosting the event is having all sorts of trouble. I've got no patience to deal with that. If it's, if some of that stuff is out of your control, out of your hands, not really interested in any official capacity. But as far as having a cafe in Midtown Terrace that I can broadcast out of, that'd be awesome. But again, I think I'm going to be really struggling to find a property that will fit the bloody cafe on it to even start with.
Yeah. That's going to definitely be exactly the issue starting off. It's going to be where, if you can get a cafe, where do you put it?
Yeah. So as for the actual functionality, yes, brilliant. I think this goes back to what you were saying about, the whole theatre thing, like going in, charging tickets or whatever. I mean, this show is a prime example. It'd be cool if we were broadcasting this simultaneously out of Mosswood, out of the Midtown Terrace Cafe, and we had other guests in. I've never really played with, I know you have in some of your broadcasts where you did community podcasts. I've kind of personally avoided that like the plague, because it just brings in a whole load of extra complexities that you have to manage on the fly while trying to run a show and everything else. So that's a lot to do.
Yeah. No, Discord is the only platform I've seen where that seems to work relatively well.
Yes. So, no, I'm excited for this. I just think because of the limitations of the size aspects and whatnot, that I might be... I mean, like you said, maybe I just can't put it in Midtown Terrace. That's not going to be the end of the world, but it goes back to the frustrations of neighbourhood ratings. The whole thing was building up your neighbourhood, getting all these structures involved. Well, if you happen to pick the wrong sort of neighbourhood way back in the day, well, you're just screwed. Yeah.
Or you gotta pivot real hard. You're gonna have to be a racing neighborhood now or something. I don't know.
Yes. So, this was another one. This was big news in the day. Tuesday night at the time, we introduced the crew. Not introduced. What's the word? Interviewed the crew behind this, introducing X NFT. This seemed huge. This was going to be a third-party development in-game thing. Not really my cup of tea, shooting games and running around and doing that sort of stuff. But again, it's the tech side of things that I was that seems super interesting. But again, we haven't seen much of it ever since the first announcement.
Yeah, I don't know what this is actually.
Yeah, it's like there's a shooting range in Texas or somewhere.
I've heard there's some
Yeah.
sort of shooting game at like a dev shop, I guess, in Upland somewhere. But I guess that's what this is.
Yeah, that's what this is. Yep.
Okay.
Yes. All right. The other big one was preparing for life in Upland. The idea of life in Upland. I know you were all about this as far as having
Yeah.
pets or what was it? I was going to say aviaries, not aviaries, nurseries and whatnot for
Yeah.
plants and that. Yeah. So this was exciting news. The pretty vague details back in the day. Like this was before we found out about the whole totem situation. Yeah. When you were saying you were popping in every now and then to collect your dividends and that sort of stuff, this sort of stuff would pop up for you. Is this one of the ones that you didn't just immediately click out of? Get out the road.
Yeah.
X out of these things.
When I saw a little bit that they were doing something regarding that, and I was very excited about it. I actually got when I got back into Upland, it was just after they had finally started doing totems. I wasn't able to get part of that sale, but I was aware that they've been doing this where they've been there's the protum, the totem. They're going to be planning on moving to STEM or whatever. Like we've been waiting for forever. Yeah, nurseries. Yeah, Mosswood Park. I had always wondered if I could actually just turn it into a giant nursery. That's part of why I put the factory there, because we still don't know how that's going to work. Like in terms of populating Upland with these things. Like we have totems, but that's not the same thing as actually having animals and plants in Upland. So I'm very curious how that's going to translate.
Yes. Now, am I remembering correctly? I think it was you, wasn't it, where you were purposefully going around to different cities and buying up park areas?
Yeah. I at one point had probably a dozen or so. I've still got a few, but not as many as I used to. It took so long for them to get to this point that by that point I had already gotten out of everything except for like the neighborhoods I was more invested in. So yeah, that's life.
That's life, literally. All right, I put these up for Genesis Week stuff. We're on the Genesis Week is coming up again here. What did you think about last year's Genesis Week? Did you stay in touch with anything? Are you excited for this year's?
I completely missed Genesis Week last year. Completely missed it. This year, I mean, I'm not going to be there, but I am excited that for what's going to happen. There's a lot of things they've got going on behind the scenes that we know about, that they've been hinting about, that I have to assume are going to be taking center stage at Genesis Week. I have to assume we're going to be getting more about their plans for Sparklet. I assume that we're going to be getting maybe something about the in-structure experience, just by the nature of, now that I know that we have the theater that we're going to be able to watch movies in or something. I'm hoping that means that we're going to be getting more things like that. We just got the private transportation, so I'm hopeful that the inevitable next stage of that, which is real-time transportation, maybe that'll be center stage. So that I'm hopeful that we're gonna actually get some real announcements this year about shit that we've been speculating for the last 4 years on.
Well, no, I don't know if you've got wind of this yet. I believe it was Lily Field in the Upland Down Under podcast. She said something along the lines of, forgive me if it wasn't Lily, if it was somebody else, but somebody on the podcast said that they're not doing any official live streams this year. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because of the technical limitations at the facilities, rather than deal with the headache of all of that, they're just not going to do it at all. That seems that sucks. As somebody who's not going to attend Genesis Week, that blows.
I have to wonder, does that mean that, okay, they aren't live streaming it. Does that mean they're not recording it? Could it be as simple as they're recording it and then we'll be uploading it afterwards, as to ensure stability? I might just be being hopeful. but yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Because the first Genesis week, I think we had a very good mix of there was live events that you could go and watch. There was also a lot of community members, especially the broadcasters, put out a lot of stuff. Last year, for this one that's pictured here, Upland did all the live broadcasts. Yes, it was janky. Yes, there was tech issues. The community stuff was almost non-existent because they had the booth system. So a lot of the content creators were tied up with the booths, so they weren't putting out content. This year, they've still got the booth. So I think I'm worried that if you're not at the event personally, then you're just going to miss out on a whole bunch of stuff. But maybe that's the purpose. It's be there or be square. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that we're gonna get something. Maybe they're not recording it. Maybe we know they're not streaming it. But I find it hard to believe that we're only gonna get text announcements for that week.
Yes, hopefully that's not the case. We shall find out. We'll race through a few of these NFT portal updates, Block Explorer downloads. The portal, as we know, is still one directional at present, except for the Block Explorers now can go out and be sold for Ethereum if you're willing to pay the extraordinary gas fees. I haven't done a single thing with these myself. I still have yet to import a single NFT because there's no use case for it as of yet.
Yeah, I imported one back in the day, just one of those uploads from the cards. I tried another one about a month ago, and it still hasn't shown up. So I'm just not dealing with it.
Wait and see. Yes. All right. This was the FIFA Women's World Cup, Australia, New Zealand. I thought, great, we're going to have an Australian city release. Woohoo! Nothing.
We didn't do that, did we?
No.
No.
Not even close. Not even close. Not even a New Zealand one. Nothing. Absolute sip, nada, zilch, however you want to say it. Yes. I maintain that.
The stars that I said that I was hoping for a day or night cycle. Somebody suggested that they thought that it was the constellation you see from Australia, and so
Southern Cross,
and so maybe it's an Australian release. So there's people hoping for you.
Upland hates Australia. Put it out there like that. Yes. That's the vibe on the street. Yes, I was a bit disappointed to see that there was just nothing at all done with it. It was just basically here's some more stuff for you to buy.
Yeah.
Moving on. Oniforce and Upland. Now this is another one kind of like the other one we showed, the Gala one. This was huge news at the time. Oniforce is a fairly big community that's out there established. It was tied up with the Tokyo release, of course. They're supposedly getting their own neighborhood to do all sorts of stuff in, but pretty much crickets for days ever since this was released. I don't know if there's been an issue on the Oniforce side, the Upland side. Who would know? But it's a bit frustrating.
This is the first time I saw this in the slideshow, but I don't know who Oniforce is. I recognize the imagery from the Tokyo expansion. I got a pass of the Tokyo expansion that has that motorcycle there. No idea who Oniforce is. I thought it was On One Force.
Oh, it's I pronounce things shockingly. So who knows what it is? Yeah, I believe it's like an anime-based NFT series, something like that. But a big, massive community, a very deeply engaged community. I was hoping, this is going to onboard a lot of users. Maybe it will still play out, but you're talking about July last year, so not much has been said since then. Frustrating. All right, I put this one in there as a kind of general overview for the dev shops that we've seen there. We want more gamification in Upland. Upland has seemingly, for the layer 1 experiences, said, yes, we're working on other stuff. All of these extra things are going to be pushed off to the other layers. Upland Kingdoms. Any of that interest you? Do you get involved in any of this stuff?
I looked at it, but by the time I looked at it, by the time I was getting, apparently Upland Kingdoms is not doing well. People don't have. There's some drama there apparently, or something. It's
not being updated. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I use the Epic Spark Exchange to rent Spark, and I've been doing the Spark Tycoon thing where I've been building nodes and making the lumber and the ore and the energy to then make more nodes that make lumber, ore, and energy. Apparently, there's going to be a layer 3 game that actually uses the lumber, the ore, the energy. Whatever. Till then, it's fun to press buttons.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's these sorts of experiences, they're hard to get going as a developer, but to keep them running is way, way, way harder to keep things up and running, especially because apparently Upland keeps changing the API, some of the back end stuff with the access or how the data is presented, which just throws everything out of whack, and it constantly needs time, money, attention being spent to fix it all up. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I couldn't imagine.
Oh, what did I do? I just had a stroke and fast forward through a whole bunch of them. Now, I put this one here. I'm not even going to try and say this name. This lady is a singer. We had legits that were tied to, you could get access to her single. When this came, immediately I thought of you because you'd been talking about this sort of situation for the longest time.
Yeah, I saw the legits, but that's not. I mean, that's not. Apparently, she had a concert, and you can buy legits that are like a little video of maybe a song.
Yeah.
The concert wasn't in Upland, right? As far as I understood, you couldn't go. Yeah, so okay. I don't know. It kind of it reminds me of the dance schools, where I'm just like, okay, samba, sure.
Yeah.
All right. That's how I felt about it.
Yep, absolutely. Same here. And then, of course, we had the totems officially came on board with the mystery pass sales, several rounds of those, and of course, we've had the first series of pressing the buttons to feed your totems. Did you eventually get yourself a totem? Were you involved in that process?
Got a totem, no protem. Because I got a totem on the secondary market, I was never whitelisted to buy protem. So yeah,
you couldn't feed it.
I've got a totem, but no protem.
Damn, yeah. That sucks.
And now I'm just waiting to see what happens for season 2.
Yeah, well, you might have to flip some properties for USD so you can buy some protem to get it going. But then if you get the wrong one, you're going to have to dig in your pocket quite deeply to get it over the hump to start generating. Yeah, that's tricky.
We'll
Wait and see on that one. Right, I put this one in as well, introducing Kaboom. This was like I believe Dak was heavily involved in getting this up and running. It was like a fundraiser situation for the Kaboom project, like creating specific series of map assets for fundraising. I thought this was a pretty good system. At least a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Kaboom's. I didn't know there was somebody involved from the players with it. I had not heard of it. I saw this image and I was like, "Oh, are we putting like playgrounds in Upland? Great."
Yeah, it was one of those sales where I believe it was a registered sale, and for me, I'd have to be up at 3 a.m. to have it, see if I had a chance to get them. Yada yada yada. For all intents and purposes, I believe it sold out fairly quickly, or it might have been one of those ones. Actually, now I come to think of it, it might have been one of those ones where the Kaboom place has a factory, they manufacture them, and then they automatically get put in their showroom and listed, and there's somebody at the showroom just gobbling them up. Yeah, I don't know which it was, but yeah. And that's another thing that grinds my gears as somebody who is manufacturing assets, having to manually move them one at a time from the factory to the showroom. We have to move those manually. These official partners, they don't. Jackie Sai wasn't sitting there moving them one at a time. It's an automated process. Why don't we have access to that automated system?
It obviously exists. So yeah, I don't know.
It obviously does.
It's very weird. Do you try and line your boxes up when you move them, or do you just like anywhere there's free spaces?
If you look at the showroom in Midtown Terrace, they're all lined up very OCD-ish, but if you look at all of the other showrooms, they're just wherever the fuck they land, that's where they land. Yeah. There's just too much work. Yeah. All right, moving on, we had the...
By the way, I got a message. I am going to have to go in a few minutes. I'm sorry, I am going to have to...
Yep, that's all right. We'll wrap this up.
Something came up.
All right, I think I think there's only a few slides anyway, so we'll race through these. Sparklet, we've kind of touched on that. I think we're both excited to see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Master builders, I put this in as, it's good to see the ability to build structures out in the community. They seem to be leaning more and more into that at different times. I think it's a bit frustrating that some of these specialist city buildings haven't been put out to the community to design.
Yeah, they did that for the first big one where that did like all of the cities, and even to the point where when you go into just to construct them now, you still see the naming mechanic, Cave Ads Mansion or whatever. But yeah, where's the blueprint shops? Where's all the things they're working on?
Absolutely. Now, there's two things I wanted to see here was the wearables, what you thought about the wearables, and this block and load was the selling legits or selling Block Explorers specifically to the Block Explorer store owners. Those two features. What do you think about those?
So the wearables, I got one just in case they decide to randomly make that a gamified earnings task.
Yep.
Be prepared. But other than that, I don't go into the actual spaces where they're necessary to use them. I'm mostly mobile, and that shit just drains the mobile. It drains the battery, uses so much data. They gotta figure something out with that.
And that's if you can get it to work.
Yeah, that too. The business-to-business sales, which is what I'm considering the block and load type of things, where they're selling specifically to Metaventure owners, I love. I think that is exactly how you create like a real economy. You sell in bulk, wholesale to the shops, so that they then establish the actual fair market value of things. It worked very well for the block explorers they were doing for that burn event for the samurai. It's worked worked pretty well, obviously, for the cars they did. Didn't work so well for the structure ornaments, but 2 out of pricing is hard. That worked out well for me, though. I know that a lot of people were unhappy about it, and I was too about the pricing. But I managed to get all of my money back, and so it worked out well enough for me. But overall, I like it.
Same. Yeah, the system is a really good one. It's just they got to get the pricing a bit more fairly weighted. What do I have here? I don't know. I had this one. Maybe it was the turkey chase events, or maybe it was this. Oh no, it was the changes to the treasure hunting was one of the big ones there. We've seen continual changes to treasure hunting. What's your thought on that situation?
I didn't even start treasure hunting at all until about a month ago, so didn't notice any changes.
No harm, no foul. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We kind of touched on this one briefly. I had this as the specialist buildings. Now, when we have new cities being released, there's a specialist building tied with it. When this Miami one dropped, I FOMOed into putting a whole bunch of these up immediately. And then I got a week or two down the track and I was like, why am I building this stuff that I have no intent on doing anything with? And I ended up demolishing them all.
Oh. I could see that. I have been, whenever the last two that I've seen, like with the Tahoe one, the Tokyo one, well, I wanted that unique structure badge. So basically, I got all the builds I could going, and then I saw that people were flipping certain properties based on them having that. They're only able to be built for a little bit of time, and with everything going on, I'm minting a new city. Go ahead and build one or two. Wait and flip them. That's kind of how I view it.
All right, and the other part there was the decorate your property. So this was opening up structure ornaments to be able to decorate anything you wanted all year round.
Yeah, I'm for that. Yes, freedom.
Great, except for, as we kind of touched on, the whole crate drama associated with it. And then we're kind of getting up to the more recent stuff. Frost season passes, seasons revamped. I think we've touched on seasons. What did you think about the whole Frost seasons, the cosmetic drops? Did you get involved in that? Were you happy with what you got? Yep.
I bought the pack. I bought the pass day one. And don't care for the big game cosmetics, but other than the week one drop, I've been happy. I like them all. I like the snow, like the hearts, like the shamrocks, like the property cards. I got no criticisms.
So the $7 question is, will you be buying the next season pass?
Oh yeah.
Good on you. All right. Gamified earnings. We kind of touched on that already. Ethereum bundle. That was a big one too. People bought these. I feel for these people that bought this Ethereum bundle right before the Ethereum prices pretty much almost doubled.
Yeah. But that's, you know what you're doing going in. Like,
yeah, such is life.
Yeah.
You can't look back. And
I think I may actually need to go.
That's right. That's the last one anyway. So just want to thank you very much for your time.
Oh, absolutely, man. And again, I'm sorry, I'm cutting and running a little bit here at the end of it, but I'd love to do this again sometime. This has been a great conversation.
All right, mate. Absolutely. I'll definitely tap you on the shoulder for another follow-up chat at some stage. And all the best. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Absolutely. Yeah, you as well, man. Thank you again.
Thanks, buddy.
If you have an Upland, NFT or Metaverse product, service or event to promote, or you're just someone engaged in Web3 who'd like to have a chat, send me, Ben68, a DM on Discord, or drop a YouTube comment to discuss and secure your spot.